The Daisy and the Skylark. Once upon a time, there was a farmhouse right next to a big road. In front of this house was a small flower garden surrounded by painted wooden fences. Nearby, among the fresh green grass, a small daisy was growing. The sun shone upon the daisy just as warmly and brightly as it did on the grand flowers in the garden. Therefore, the daisy grew happily. One morning, the daisy fully bloomed, with its snow-white petals arranged around its yellow center like the rays of the sun. Even though no one noticed it among the grass, the daisy was content. It looked up towards the sun with joy and listened to the song of the skylark flying high above. The little daisy was as happy as if it were a great holiday, even though it was only a Monday. All the children had gone to school, and while they were learning their lessons, the daisy sat on its thin green stalk and learned from the sun and its surroundings how good God is. The skylark's song expressed the daisy's feelings so sweetly and clearly that the daisy looked up at the bird with great admiration, but without any envy. "I can see and hear," it thought. "The sun shines upon me and nature embraces me. How rich I am." Nearby in the garden, many large and magnificent flowers were growing, and strangely, the less fragrance they had, the prouder and more arrogant they were. The peonies puffed themselves up to be larger than the roses, but size isn't everything. The tulip had the most beautiful colors, and it knew it well, as it stood upright like candles to be seen more clearly. In their pride, they didn't notice the little daisy, even though the daisy looked at them and thought, "How rich and beautiful they are. Surely the skylark will fly down to visit them. Thank God I am here and can at least see all this splendor," it thought. Just then, the skylark came chirping down, but not to the peonies and tulips, no, to the little daisy among the grass. The daisy was so overjoyed that it didn't know what to think. The little bird hopped around the daisy singing, "How soft the grass is, and what a lovely little flower with its golden heart and silver dress is growing here." The yellow center of the daisy indeed looked like gold, and its small petals shone like silver. The daisy was so happy, no one could possibly know how happy it was. The bird kissed the daisy with its beak, sang to it, and then rose again into the blue sky. The daisy was deeply honored, and hoped that the other flowers in the garden had noticed its joy. But the tulips and peonies stood even more stiffly, for they were envious. The daisy, understanding their discomfort, sincerely pitied them. One day, a young girl came into the garden. She carried a large, sharp knife in her hand. She went to the tulips and began cutting them one by one. The daisy felt sad when it saw this, but it was grateful for being outside and simple enough to be left alone. As the sun set, the daisy closed its petals and went to sleep, dreaming all night of the sun and the skylark. The next morning, when the daisy opened its petals again, it heard the skylark's voice, but this time, its song was sad. The bird had been caught and placed in a cage very close by. The skylark sang about the happy days when it could fly freely, the fresh green fields, and the times when it soared almost up to the clouds. The little daisy wanted so much to share the bird's pain, but didn't know what it could do. It forgot its own beauty and the splendor of the nature around it, thinking only of the bird. At that moment, 2 children playing in the garden came near the bird's cage. One of them took the sharp knife and cut a piece of grass around the daisy. "We should put this piece of grass in the bird's cage," he said. The other child suggested plucking the daisy, but the first child said, "No, let it stay, it looks so pretty." And so the daisy was placed in the bird's cage along with a piece of grass. The bird was unhappy in the cage, but when it noticed the daisy, it found some comfort. The daisy, though saddened by its inability to help the bird, remembered its own happiness when the bird had shown it affection. The skylark kissed the daisy with its beak and sang to it, and the daisy felt grateful to be beside the bird. Days passed in joy, as every morning the skylark would come to the daisy and sing to it. The daisy cherished the bird's friendship, eagerly awaiting its cheerful songs each day. The skylark appreciated the daisy's simplicity and the beauty of nature. The bird said to the daisy, "Even a small and simple flower like you makes this garden more beautiful. I am so happy to be with you every morning." The daisy felt even more joyful hearing these words, realizing that its friendship with the bird made it feel more valuable. As the days continued with joy, all the flowers in the garden and the skylark celebrated together, watching the sunset. They shared stories of friendship and thanked each other for making the garden beautiful. The daisy knew these joyful days would last forever, and once again, it understood how wonderful life was with the skylark as its friend. And so, every morning, the daisy and the skylark greeted the new day together with the first light of the sun. Though the daisy was a simple flower, it had become the happiest and most cherished flower in the garden. And now, it's time to drift into a sweet sleep filled with beautiful dreams. Perhaps in your dreams, you will walk in that lovely garden with the daisy, listen to the skylark's cheerful song, and rest peacefully under the warm rays of the sun. Good night, sweet dreams.